Okay. So if that's it then for Sprite on the Vikings, we'll just announce the last team. It's obviously the Green Bay Packers. The owner wasn't able to make it with us today, so I'm just going to give a quick rundown on them after Bond and Coley do their thing. But the owner for the Packers is going to be Riley, our Rams owner from last year.
Yeah.
So, Bond, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Packers?
All right. Packers are always a fun team to look at. Obviously, start with Aaron Rodgers, who's still rated really well. Kind of screwed whoever was going to take this team because they took Jordan Love in the first round instead of giving someone that's probably worthwhile. And Brian, I know you remember. I remember you talking about it, but do you remember what Love was rated? I know you said you were looking at him when they did the rookie ratings. Oh, I got it
Yeah,
right
so
here.
he's 71 overall.
Yeah.
He's got athleticism wise, he's like on par with Burrow and Tua and all them. He's got a little bit of a stronger arm than both of those guys as well, which was interesting. But I believe when the devs came out, he was only normal dev,
Yeah.
as opposed to some of the superstar that those other guys were. So I think that's what's would hold him back as a prospective long term quarterback in
Yeah.
Madden.
So it's a team obviously built to win now, pretty highly rated. They've got five guys 90 plus: Bakhtiari, Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, Jair Alexander, and Kenny Clark. A good balance of players. Looks like offensive line could use some improvement, but there's weapons. Obviously, Devontae Adams. They have Funchess as the second highest rated receiver at 79 overall. Um, Defense looks pretty good with Jair Alexander, Kenny Clark, Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, Darnell Savage. So it's a team that's built to it now, and it's a little bit of an older roster, so it might be a team looking to rebuild mid-cycle, but should be able to compete in year one.
Yeah.
The the Packers would definitely be the favorite if you're just looking to no matter who the owner was. But Riley, pretty impressive last cycle. He had the second most wins in the entire league. He had a 76-36 record. Had six out of the seven winning seasons, which was the second most. Only one team had a winning season all 7 years. But his issue was he was only 1-5 in the playoffs. So really good in the regular season. He won that division almost every year. The NFC West with the Rams kind of dominated with Aaron Donald. Had those good receivers, made trades to get those big time receivers out there, and won a bunch of games. I think kind of seems like he flew under the radar because he didn't really have a lot of success in the playoffs. But you know, the I mean, he won one less game than the person that won the most. So pretty good cycle, you'd have to say, for him.
Yeah, I think underrated is a good way to put that. That NFC West was a fun division to track with B there, and then Shiloh having some good years at the end of the cycle, and then JLM who with the 49ers. So it was a really competitive division. So for him to win it 5 out of 6 years is super impressive to me. So I'm interested to see how he does with a little more of a veteran team. Might need a little bit more roster turnover than he had with the Rams.
Yeah, and I think he had a lot of success early on with Todd Gurley running the ball, and then shifted, like Cooley mentioned, into a little bit more of a passing offense. So he can do both. And I think now with how Aaron Jones is rated now versus how he was rated when I took on the team this year, it's really going to make that offense very balanced, and I think that he can have a lot of success with that because we know that he can run a running offense, he can run a passing offense. So
Yep, Brian. Isn't he like a 90 overall or
90,
something?
90
Yeah,
overall for Aaron
Yeah,
Jones.
yeah,
I
91
Yeah,
saw him
speed,
talk about that.
good agility, can catch it out of the backfield. He's gonna be a good player.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing this year is going to be 100% Cat after the first season, because after the first season you have Kenny Clark, David Bakhtiari, and Aaron Jones all up for contracts. That's 3 of their 5 90-plus overall players all up for deals after the first season. So there's definitely going to be some decisions there. I don't know if he's going to be able to sign all 3. But yeah, that's really going to be the key factor, I think, for that Packers team.
This is a really interesting division. I mean, basically just because a lot because of the way the teams are rated. But with these, I mean, they're good owners in here this time that had good years last year, and I look for. I mean, unless Riley, comes out the gate and is really good at the start, just because he has a little better team to start. If he builds on that, he could be tough to take down. But if they can keep it, competitive from the start, this will be a division that's, it'll be a nine wins, a win every year. It'll win the division. I think. 'Cause I think it'd be really competitive.
Well,
And
looking
we
at
have
the,
4 owners.
go ahead, Brian.
And I was going to say we have 4 owners here who have all had playoff appearances and are kind of all new to this division.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. All 4 guys that are coming in. I think Sprite made the play. You made the playoffs last cycle, right, Sprite?
I've never made the playoffs.
Oh, I think your team made it the year
Sprite
after
side.
when Priest took over.
Yep, I built this team for him. So
you did, because you had that really good quarterback and built up a pretty nice offense, and then he kind of went with that. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be, it's 4 really good users. 3 in Sprite, but oh, it's fun. But it should be fun, man. I'm excited to see how this division goes. The North was pretty competitive last cycle, if I remember right. Outside the Vikings didn't do well, but the other teams kind of went back and forth a little bit. Oh no, Jump dominated. Never mind.
Yeah.
Well,
for
Jump
spots,
dominated
at
the
least.
division. Yeah, Jump dominated the division, but me and Tub, I think, both had 2 playoff appearances apiece, maybe 3.
Yeah, Lions and Packers were both there every year trying to, wild card.
Mm-hmm.
And that's NFC wild card was 11 wins, last cycle, pretty much every year. So
yeah.
All right. Do we want to do some predictions for how we think this division might go for the Madden 21 cycle?
I think you should.
Yeah.
All right.
I predict it'll be the worst.
Say that again. You were cut off a little bit.
I can predict who will be the worst.
Oh, okay.
Billy Bird, blow your roll.
Yeah, let's see about that one.
I didn't say any names.
Well, let's start with the actual people in the division. Vinmas, what's your prediction for who's going to own the division in Madden 21? Bears?
Oh,
we're not worried about no aging Rodgers or Stafford or Kirk Cousins. He likes to throw to the other team anyways. I'll take the worst quarterback in the league, or not the league, but the division, and we're gonna roll with that because we have the best team surrounding him.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Confidence there.
Sprite, what's your thought?
I don't think it'll be Chicago. I think Riley probably. I think Riley will
with Green Bay.
Will win out, with Green Bay early. Just Aaron Rodgers. I mean,
past his prime.
Yeah, but he's not in the Madden. He's still
not in Madden.
throw it on a
that's
dime.
The key.
So, but it'd be mine for. I'm gonna win games this year. I'm gonna win games, and I'll make the playoffs this cycle. So,
not if we have anything to say about it.
Well,
there are extra playoff teams. Remember,
that's okay. That's okay.
He's got more of a chance.
I see Captain is muted from the voice chat, like the thing. So if Captain, if you're listening, if you hear and you want to jump in, just go ahead. But We'll go Cooley. What is your prediction for the division?
I mean, I've started betting horses here recently, and I'm terrible at it. But
So don't take
No,
your word for anything.
well, I'm just saying, if you were handicapping it, Riley is definitely going to be, should be the pick based on his cycle last year and how well he played. And then he's got the best rated team to start with. Now, that whether that ends up being, he's the overall winner through the whole cycle, I don't know, because this division's really going to depend on team building, because I think a lot of these teams will end up changing over due to cap or age. But man, I mean, Vin, he won his division. Captain, didn't he win his division?
He did, I think, twice.
So you've got guys that know how to play. I'm excited to kind of see this division. I purposely didn't pay attention to who got what teams. It was kind of a surprise to me, even though I could have known. So even though it was listed, I just didn't read it. But you know, I'll go with Riley, but man, it won't surprise me if any of these guys, and even the Vikings, in OMFL, I was in this division, and the Vikings really at the end they made the playoffs and had a chance, and it just basically took they got a new quarterback, and they kind of just fit the team to. This is their defense is pretty good. I mean they have they have the ability to be good, but if you're making me pick, I have to say Riley.
Brian, what do you think?
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go Riley for first season, maybe two, but I think that the Bears, Lions, and Vikings all have the potential to make this a pretty even cycle after that first season or two. I think that Vikings are going to be, I think, a longer rebuild. It's going to take Sprite maybe 3 or 4 seasons to kind of get that roster in shape. But I think both Captain and Vin have the opportunity to challenge season 1, certainly. And I think season 2, season 3, I think they have the potential to be in the driver's seat because I honestly don't think there's a whole lot that they need to do to have those teams be in position. And I think, like Captain mentioned, that offense is basically set up with that 3-headed running back situation and Stafford and Galladay to kind of be set for the long haul. Just a matter of keeping that defense afloat. So I say Riley early on, and then it's kind of a crapshoot after that.
The drafts and the sim season will be really important those first 3 years in this division, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I agree with you, Brian. I think Riley's got the advantage early on just because that roster is probably the highest rated. And playing him, I got to play him, I think 3 or 4 times last cycle, and know a little bit about how he likes to play. And I think the roster is going to fit him pretty well with how he likes to play on offense. But agree with you, Cooley. Whoever drafts the best in the first 3 seasons, the 2 play seasons and the sim season, I think will end up turning around and dominate the division, or not dominate necessarily, but have the best success in the division toward the end of the cycle, the last 3 or 4 seasons. So I could see this being kind of a Packers-led division early on, and then either any one of the other 3 teams taking over, or the Packers continuing if they draft really well. The last half of the cycle.